I started feeling a very, very severe chest pain. And just before the chest pain, I realized something. I lost my sense of smell. There was nothing you could cook around me that I would, perceive. I would eat, I felt like I was eating chalk. Because a lot of us believe, when you pray, you can't have COVID-19. There's a difference between an epidemic, or there's a line between the spiritual and the physical. There is no one that cannot contact a virus, regardless of how spiritual you may be. In the deadly atmosphere of mosquitoes in Bagada Hospital, it took about 20 minutes for the doctor to come out. In Bagada, I saw things. The guys in Lassos were also referred to Bagada. We got there ahead of them. They met us in Bagada. The same silly excuse, no bed space, we cannot admit. They brought a lady. She was in labor. She was already in full labor. She was laboring in the car. And they were telling them there is no bed. They referred us to Lagos Island Hospital.
Another far-flung hospital.
That's from Bagada.
Yes, to that far-flung.
Yes, went to Lagos Island. So getting to Lagos Island, we even missed the turning. We entered into the mortuary. So as at 2 a.m. to 3, I was in a mortuary. No, it's true.
This is a very bad one, sir.
So when the attendant came, I said I want to see the doctor. He said, "Oh, sorry, you are in the wrong place. That this is the mortuary." I said, "Oh, long, motu wanu mortuary la go meta oru, sanu mi."
Might not be too difficult to say that the apathy among the medical practitioners in Nigeria during the COVID-19 challenge is directly responsible for majority of sudden deaths at various medical facilities and infectious diseases centers across the country. Several families have come out to voice out their regrets on both social and conventional media about the way and manner doctors and health caregivers at private and public hospitals around the country neglected ailing patients who were rushed to their facilities under dreadful and severe conditions. In most cases, the head or leading officers at the medical facilities outrightly reject such patients under the disguise that there are no bed spaces. Others, who are more diplomatic, uses dubious tactics to draw funds for emergency medical carts, drugs, and other provisions in their facilities from families of ailing patients before wickedly referring such patients to other hospitals. In fact, majority of these doctors from several accounts are nothing near their Hippocratic oaths. This might also not be unconnected with claims by medical personnel, especially in Lagos State, who accused government of low or no motivation for work being done. For instance, doctors at the mainland hospital, Lagos, a couple of weeks ago, complained of low morale. They alleged that they work under the most inhuman, unhealthy conditions that predisposes them to danger. The hospital, which is an infectious disease facility in Yaba, treats confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Lagos State. On several occasions, these workers threatened going on strike if their complaints are not addressed appropriately. They claimed despite the increasing number of confirmed coronavirus cases and huge influx of patients at a frenetic pace to the IDH and the success rates recorded so far, they are being owed allowances, have no life insurance cover, and are not fed throughout the duration of their shifts. According to a source at the IDH, Lagos State is the front line for other cases in Nigeria. It has the highest cases, and we do not know what will happen in the coming weeks. People have been asked to stay at home to minimize transmission of the virus, but we go to work, putting ourselves at risk, the officer lamented. At a time, it was gathered that the health workers were revolting and planning to stop work before a higher diplomatic intervention halt the uprising. If that had happened, it could be dangerous as more lives will be lost. However, the low morale of medical practitioners and members of the medical guild in Nigeria might be directly responsible for deaths at hospitals and infectious disease centers across the state and the country at large, as many families are now afraid to visit hospitals with their sick loved ones, as they believe doctors' apathy is even worse than the COVID-19 pandemic. There have been cases of many Nigerians and other nationals who died during emergency situations due to either doctors' apathy or drop money before treatment syndrome. The fear of visiting the hospital or a doctor appears to have become the beginning of wisdom for many families. 2 weeks ago, Asabe Africa TV interviewed Miss Dolapo Beckley, daughter of a Nigerian entertainment consultant, Princess Tessie Alero Yembra, who recalled the terrible way and manner several hospitals, including Gbagada General Hospital in Lagos, rejected her ailing mom on Wednesday, May 27, 2020, until she died in a car, conveying her around Lagos seeking for emergency help as a result of her diabetic condition, which spiked after the lockdown in the state. It was such a devastating experience as she relayed it to this channel. You can search for the video on this channel and watch. Prophet Judah Adetoyi Jimoh's case is not different. The only good news is the fact that he lived to tell the story of his near-death experience in the hands of the nonchalant doctors in several medical facilities across Lagos, and is face-to-face with COVID-19 experience at the Infectious Disease Hospital, Yaba. When Asabe Africa TV paid the prophet a visit at his Lagos home around Ojodu Estate, Lagos Southwest, Nigeria recently. He not only recalled a horrifying experience in a rigmarole death to life to death experience in the hands of outrightly callous and merciless medical practitioners in several Lagos hospitals. He equally told us what he saw inside the IDH, Yaba, which correlates the position of the angry doctors. His experience inside the infectious disease hospital, Yaba, will shock you to the bones. Judah Adetoyi Jimoh, a writer, cinematographer, and entertainment consultant, gave graphic details of high and very dangerously low moments in the hands of the good, the bad, and the ugly of Nigerians' healthcare system. It is an experience that begs for national renaissance. His revelation to Asabe Africa TV encapsulates the general experience of many families in Lagos, Abuja, Awka, Kano, Port Harcourt, Owerri, Warri, and elsewhere. The federal government of Nigeria and other conscientious Nigerians might need to make a referendum for a state of emergency in the ailing health sector. Take a seat and learn from the experience of Prophet Judah Adetoyi Jimoh, a COVID-19 survivor.
It's another very beautiful, lovely moments today on Asabe Africa TV as we meet a very interesting personality, a unique person in his own right. And this is a very special broadcast because for the first time we are trying to find out the truth about the rampaging COVID-19 syndrome that has been giving us a lot of problems, especially around the world and in Africa, in Nigeria particularly. A lot of people have said, does it really exist? And some believe it is just a hoax, that there is nothing like COVID-19, that it is just a tantrum by the government and the people in public domain to siphon money and to deceive the populace. Well, for the first time, we are going out of our way to interview a COVID-19 survivor. He's a very, very interesting personality, a prolific writer, a thinker, a doer, an entertainment consultant, and also a prophet of Jehovah Almighty God. He's famous for his gift of prophecy and is also well known for his gift of entertainment consultancy. And I'm talking about this very young, dynamic man. I would like to humbly call him Prophet Judah Jimoh. He's a Lagosian, a born Lagosian, and a very promising Nigerian and a conscientious African. Sir, we are very grateful having us in your house this morning. It has been a very challenging one. When we called your aides last week and we said we have to meet you, it was like something that was not going to happen until we now spoke to you, and we tried to encourage you and try to let you to come out of your shell to share your experience with us. First and foremost, let's meet you with total honor, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Prophet Judah Adetoye Jimoh, a prophet of the Most High God, and also, like you said, an entertainment consultant, amongst many other things. Firstly, I would like to thank God for my life, because I don't think I will be here today but for the grace and mercy of God. A lot of people say that COVID-19 or the coronavirus, as it may be, is some form of charade, a hoax, a lie. People have said so many things, and honestly, I used to be one of those people.
Are you sure, sir?
Yes. Before my experience, people call and say, Daddy, pray for us, Prophet, pray for us. And they talk about the coronavirus, they talk about the pandemic. And I used to say, Etilama figbo, ne fojuri. Afetigbo, bela fojuri. The pandemic is real.
Sorry, are you sure that it is real? Because when you told me on phone, after I spoke with your aides, that you said this really happened to you, I didn't believe first, and I said, how will it happen? And I said, can you give us some narration? And when you started telling me, I said, no, sir, you have to hold on. I think we need to talk to you on it. So how did it really happen, and what was the symptoms? What were the symptoms like, sir?
If I begin to recount the whole thing, I don't think it's something that we can even finish today. But what I just noticed was, initially I started having some slight fever. I treated the fever a couple of times, like maybe twice. Then they said it wasn't fever, maybe it was what's it called now? Typhoid. So we started to treat typhoid, and then just as I was getting okay from the typhoid, this has spanned like a period of almost 14 days. I started feeling a very, very severe chest pain. And just before the chest pain, I realized something. I lost my sense of smell. There was nothing you could cook around me that I would, perceive. I would eat, I felt like I was eating chalk. And then I said to myself, are you sure? But I said no. I'm taking necessary precautions. I'm covering my nose. I'm using hand sanitizers. That's a hand sanitizer on my table I use regularly. So I felt this could never happen to me. And I'm praying.
At least everybody knows you for prayer.
So because a lot of us believe, when you pray you can't have COVID-19. There's a difference between an epidemic, or there's a line between the spiritual and the physical. There is no one that cannot contact a virus, regardless of how spiritual you may be. I met people even before getting there. So let me just go back to how the whole thing started. So I lost the sense of smell. I lost the sense of taste. I started feeling this sharp pain. And all of a sudden it just deteriorated into something else. I couldn't breathe.
You couldn't breathe? That is crazy.
Yes, I was like, that was how I was. And the pain was intense. It was so intense that at my age I was crying. I hardly cry for anything, no matter what it is. I was in tears, uncontrollable tears, because of the pain. I now said, God, in your hands I am. Because I've prayed, I've done every necessary thing I should do. But here I am. And that was how the journey began.
What were those challenges? I mean, apart from the chest pain, the sharp pain, the feverish conditions, and the loss of taste, I mean, you're losing of sense of taste and all that. What are other things that indicated that this was corona?
Well, there were so many things, that I can't really wrap my head around right now, because when you are in that state, all you want and all you pray for is to get better, is to be out of this. And at this point, I had already been sick for about 14 days. And it was just the beginning of the journey. So, I said, you know what? Before then, I would cover myself with the duvet in hot water. I would, I did so many things.
Just to survive it.
Yes, just
to get out of it.
Yeah. Initially I said maybe it was pneumonia. I said maybe it was a bad cold. Maybe it was an infection. I was just thinking about so many things. And then at the end of the day, I just told my brothers, I said, you know what? I think it's about time I go to the hospital. So that morning, it was about 11-12, I was rushed to Blue Cross Hospital.
Blue Cross? Yes. In Ogba, sir?
In Ogba. So immediately, the doctors attended to me. They were quite professional.
That's at Blue Cross?
Yes. Immediately I was put on oxygen. So when I started taking the oxygen, I was feeling a little better, like I could breathe better, and all of a sudden they said their oxygen tank, they were out of oxygen, they didn't have any spares, they didn't, and I was charged a lot of money.
At that place?
Yes, I paid, and I was referred to Isalu Hospital. Isalu Hospital.
Where is that?
That's also somewhere around Ogba.
Okay.
On getting to Isalu, they took my details and everything and said the doctor wasn't on call. The doctor who was in charge of those cases was not on call, and he'll be around the following day, and I could come back the following day, or they would give me a call the following day when the doctor was around. I haven't received that call till today.
Are you sure, sir?
Yes, this is over a month.
That is at Isalu. Is it Isalu or Isalu?
I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's ISALU.
Isalu Hospital.
Yes.
So there was a kind of an apathy, negligence, and what can I call it? Total no disregard for health care.
That's what you really face with Nigerian hospitals these days. You just have the fact that you have a few of the doctors who have given into the profession, who are really dedicated into the profession. But as regards to the generality of how our hospitals are being run, it's a sham.
Please, sir, I want you to give me a direct experience, because we just interviewed a person who took his pregnant wife to a hospital on Moboloja Bank Anthony, and the woman gave birth to 2 boys, and they gave the woman an injection, and the woman fell into coma and she died. And the husband regaled some of the experiences from nurses, the way they even talked to him, the way they denigrated him in their utterances, the way they pushed him around, no respect, no regard, no humility and all that. I want you to go into what did you see in the hospital? Was that care? Was that sense of duty?
Well, you see, there's a false sense of care.
False sense of care.
Yes. All they care about is your money. Nigerian hospitals do not care about your well-being. They don't care about anything. They just care about, oh, does he look like he has money? As we go on, in the course of this interview, you will hear so many things that will break your heart. You will hear, I'm going to tell you the way it is. I'm not going to mince words. I don't care whose or is God. I don't really care.
Please, sir, that's what we want, sir, and that's why we begged you before coming here, that you have to tell us the whole fact, because we need to save ourselves. If we're in a country and we're in a democracy and our Medicare system is in shambles, we don't have a sense of duty with the doctors, then we're half dead.
I'm going to tell you for free. There's always a false sense of care in Nigerian hospitals. When you come in and you look like a wealthy person, you get all the pampering, all the care. Let the average man go into a hospital. Before he's attended to, he might have died. I'm going to get there. It's a sad experience.
So after Isonlu, what was the next action from your family? I think you are in between life and death then.
Yes, because of the oxygen I took, because I was on the oxygen for over an hour, well over an hour. So I felt better. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should just go home. Tomorrow, I continue this journey. But one thing kept ringing in my head. The doctors at Blue Cross kept telling me, don't go home, oh. Make sure you go to a hospital. Don't go home, oh. Make sure you go to a hospital. Don't go home, oh. And I asked them, I said, if I've got a health condition, please come out and tell me. Let me know where I stand. Let me know the race I'm about to run. Don't keep me in the dark. Don't just push me out and tell me to go to a hospital. They said, oh, nothing is wrong. Just make sure you go to a hospital. Don't go home. Just make sure you go to a hospital. Don't go home. I'm like, okay, fine. So after leaving Isalu, I went back, said, oh, Isalu was whatever. Even when I was leaving, Blue Cross, they said they were going to take me with the ambulance. I'm like, why are you taking me with an ambulance? I'm not crippled. I'm not incapacitated. I just have a breathing, issue. They said, no, they must put me on oxygen. I'm like, you said the oxygen is finished. Now you want to give me an oxygen to take me? I'm like, okay, how much is it to take me to Isalu? This is a 5 minutes drive from Blue Cross. This is a 5 minute or less. You said 40,000. I said, I came in my car. And my car is well ventilated. I came here in my car. I'll go to Isalu in my car. Not that I cannot pay the money, but I don't see a reason for it. I can walk from Blue Cross to Isalu in good health. Maybe it will take me 10 minutes or 15 minutes to walk. So why would you tell me that I should pay an extra 40,000 for you to take me on a 5 minutes drive? I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to pay this money and I'm going to leave. I went to Isalu. Doctor was not on call. Said they will call me when the doctor comes tomorrow. I said, you know what? Let me just go. I feel a bit better. Tomorrow, I will continue my journey and see, how I can get proper treatment. Night came. I couldn't eat, but I had a little meal because I had to take medication. It was terrible. I just felt a pang in my chest. Boom! I couldn't lie. I couldn't sit. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't bend. I just told my brothers. Luckily, I have some very caring and amazing brothers, who really stood by me in the process of in the course of the whole thing. I said, you know what? I've got to go to the hospital. They rushed me to Lasos, Ikeja, Lagos University Teaching Hospital. On getting there, we got there about maybe past 11 to 12. There were people with cases, breathing cases.
In the morning?
In the midnight.
Oh.
Yes. There were people there, and you know what they said? They said there is no bed, we cannot admit you. I'm like, in the whole of this facility there is no bed. But if I was a politician or I was some
Eminent Nigerian.
you know, I am an eminent Nigerian, but if I was, you know, one of these Nigerians that maybe they are in politics or something, they will, in government, they will have a bed for them. This is the false sense of care. They took my SPD, they took my this, they took my temperature, they did all sorts. And then they wrote the minute, they put a minute on the medical papers I was carrying that I should go to Bagada. This was that they didn't have any bed to admit. There are people who can correlate these stories. I'm not telling you a false story.
What was the attitude to you? Was it, I mean, apart from this,
They just tell you to go. They don't care if you die.
nonchalant?
Extremely nonchalant. I'm like, doctor, is there nothing you can do? He said, as you can see, there is no bed. I've told you there's nothing I can do. So you have to leave. I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
this is a life and death situation. This is a critical, this is an emergency. And they just ask us to go in the middle of the night. I'm like, okay, fine. We got in the car. We moved to Bagada. When we got to Bagada, my enemy had totally packed up.
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe. You know, I just sat down in the deadly atmosphere of mosquitoes in Bagada Hospital. It took about 20 minutes for the doctor to come out. In Bagada, I saw things. The guys in Lasos were also referred to Bagada. We got there ahead of them. They met us in Bagada. The same silly excuse. No bed space. We cannot admit. They brought a lady. She was, in fact, she was in labor. She was already in full labor. She was laboring in the car. And they were telling them there is no bed. There were like 4 sets of people there at past 12 to 1.
In the midnight?
In the midnight. Graciously, the doctor, I don't know his name, tall, chubby, he wears glasses. Graciously, out of his own goodwill, administer some injections. Give me a couple of things, give me a couple of injections, so the thing just subsided a bit. I started, gaining breath little, but he said there's nothing he can do, that there's no bed space. We left Bagada at past 1. It was to 2, going about 2 a.m. They referred us to Lagos Island Hospital.
Another far-flung hospital.
That's from Bagada.
Yes, to that far-flung.
Yes, went to Lagos Island. So getting to Lagos Island, we even missed the turning. We entered into the mortuary. So as at 2 a.m. to 3, I was in a mortuary. No, it's true.
This is a very bad one, sir.
So when the attendant came, I said I want to see the doctor. He said, oh, sorry, you are in the wrong place. That this is the mortuary. I said, oh, long. Motu wanu mortuary la go meta oru. Sanu mi.
It's not a joking matter. Right?
Yes, I left. I went to the hospital. On getting into the hospital facility, there were dead bodies on the ground. There was a guy with Fanta. He was brought in. They just stand. The hospital, they will just stand and be looking at. They don't care. Yeah. There's no sympathy. There's nothing of sort. They'll just tell you, go see bed.
No mercy.
Go see bed. I saw the guy, his brother or his friend held him. I was crying. They brought him there alive. Yeah. But because there was no emergency.
And no hope for him.
No, he died. The guy was dead.
The Fanta?
The Fanta just spilled. The guy was dead.
Yeah.
And maybe 1 or 2 other people.
Are you serious?
Yes. I just told my brothers, when they took the medical papers, they didn't even look at it. They just said kò sí bed. Yes, but ó dá mi lójú pé tó bá gbé senator kan débẹ̀ tàbí tó bá gbé house member kan débẹ̀ bed á yọjú.
Torí owó yìí.
Yes. I just said, you know what? Don't bother. Just take me out of here. What I'm seeing is appalling. It's disheartening. I cannot just.
In this atmosphere.
Kò sí nǹkan tí mo ti fẹ́ bá wọn sọ mo ti rókun lẹ́lẹ́ náà àwọn tó gbédé láláyè tó dẹ̀ ti dòkú so kí ni mo fẹ́ máa ṣe níbẹ̀. This was 3 a.m. or past 3. We left Lagos Island Hospital at that time. We went back to Blue Cross. I told them I've been everywhere tonight. We got there about maybe 4 or past 4. At this point, I was barely breathing. I was just hanging in there. And we started to beg with money. We started to beg.
Which hospital did you call it now?
Blue Cross.
Oh, the same old Blue Cross. You returned
back to Blue Cross at 4 a.m. And then there was this nonchalant doctor.
Can you remember him?
Slim, I don't even know.
Is a guy or a lady?
A guy. No, the lady that attended to me in the afternoon, she's not so tall. She uses glasses. Very Christian-like. Amazing, fantastic lady.
At Blue Cross?
Yes.
That was the earlier day?
That was in the earlier part of the day.
Yeah.
But the guy I met there on call at night, I had to be telling him, remember the oath you took when you graduated from medical school? I said, if I was your brother, or if I was your father, or if I was your uncle, would you admit me in this hospital tonight? Or you would tell me to leave? He couldn't say anything. People came out, some midwives or senior nurses. I just looked at the whole thing and as I was running around, I wasn't bothered about medical facility. I just knew my life was in the hands of God. And I kept my life in the hands of God. And my life will continue to remain in the hands of God until the day He calls me home. Because if you put your life in the hands of a government or in the hands of Nigerian doctors, they will kill you.
They will kill you?
Yes.
We interviewed a pastor, Pastor Sam Omodele, on our channel, and he said he went to an hospital too like that in Songo or Ifo, and that the doctor, he described them as monsters. He even said they are working for 666 or something like that, that the way they watch people dying, yes, he said they are beasts, that some of them even bought cars and they were celebrating when people are already dead on the bed.
Yes. You see, what I realize is I'll get there. To correlate, that happened in Ifo, I will correlate with other places. So it's a degenerating issue. It's a degenerating habit. We have exported the best of our doctors.
Are you sure?
Yes. We have exported the best of our brains.
The brain drain syndrome?
Yes. They're in Canada, they're in Saudi, they're in America, they are doing fantastic things. We've exported the best of them.
Because of our own nonchalant behavior, yes, and sensitivity to government.
Our greed. Because of the greed
of the politicians
and the decadence in government. The average man does not have hope in Nigeria. I'm telling you, all over the world. And there is no future for Nigeria as long as we continue in this pattern, except God, in His infinite mercy, decides to save us. I will continue with my story.
So after at the Blue Cross, what was it like, and how? I mean,
my brothers couldn't take it anymore. They began to shout because they could not just watch their brother just die now. They began to fight. They were like, because we just sat down for like an hour and they were just going, they were just coming, they were just going, they were just coming. Yeah. At the end of the day, you know what they said? They said, you know what? I'm going to have to pay 50,000 before they can admit me. Yeah. I'm like, I came here early in the day. Do you know how much you collected from me? You collected close to 50,000 from me for a treatment of less than 2 hours. I paid you. I didn't owe you a dime. Now I have come back. You have not administered anything to me. You're asking me to pay 50,000 naira down payment. Èyí jẹ́ èyí ò jẹ́ lẹ́fẹ̀ẹ́ mi mi ṣeun. So I said I cannot pay the money unless I am admitted. So it resulted into a lot of shouting because I was in pain. And there was nothing we could do. My brothers are not doctors, you know. They are well read, but they are not doctors. You know, they don't know all of these things. If they did, maybe they would have administered something. And after so much, the lady, they gave me some injections, and I started feeling a little relieved again. And you know what the lady said that just put me off? She said they're supposed to collect money for these injections, but they will not collect money, just to allow everything just die down.
Are you sure, sir?
If you call me tomorrow, if you take me to Blue Cross now, I will tell you the same thing. If you take me to a police station, if you take me to a court, I will tell you the same thing.
You mean a nurse told you that this injection we're supposed to take money for it?
Yes.
That
They will not take money so that
putting you through the pain,
yes,
psychological pain.
I've been there. I was there for over an hour. I got there maybe at 4 o'clock. I was there for well over an hour, like an
4
hour.
a.m.
Yes. So they gave me some injections. I started feeling better.
They put you up that statement.
Yes. I'm like, you would have collected. If you want me to, I said, if you want me to pay, I will graciously pay. It is my health. It is my life. If you want me to pay, I will pay by the grace of God. Don't tell me that you are giving me for free. I just need proper medical care. I just need attention. So we said they called the medical director or somebody. My brother had to speak. They said they don't have oxygen and they don't know when the oxygen will come. I said, okay, admit me. If oxygen will come at 12 noon, let me just manage and know that, okay, oxygen is coming. You know, the same thing I asked the guy in the morning. I said, do I have any underlying health issue? Let me know.
Give me the information.
Give me the information I need. You said, no, I'm okay. I just need the oxygen. They don't have oxygen. Because they don't have oxygen, everything was just based on oxygen. I'm like, oh, okay, in this whole facility, you don't have, say the oxygen is finished, so people just used it. Then later I realized that they were even using oxygen for some other patients in the same facility, because in the process of going back and forth, somebody spilled the beans.
So they were rationalizing it because of economic gain.
You understand? So I'm like, I will pay for this oxygen. Just help me. Just help. I will pay. You know, at the end of the day, we had to leave Blue Cross. So there's a new hospital close to my house. We went to the hospital. I won't mention the name. On getting to the hospital, we spoke to the doctor, and I realized that, like many of our Nigerian doctors, when you tell them a symptom, they will go to Google and press your symptom and they will quickly read through it. Then they will come back to tell you this is what is wrong with you. I said, the state I am right now is not one where I can be dilly-dallying with my life. I can't allow this sort of a doctor to administer anything on me, because looking at me, telling you my symptoms, telling you what I'm going, you can't even tell me what's wrong with me. So you have to go and consult, maybe
you have to go and Google it.
So I'm like, no.
That means, what is the essence of your training?
This was 5:30.
Struggling from Lagos Island Hospital down to Blue Cross, down to this one again, and the same thing.
This was 5:30. So we called the doctor friend. Oh, and he said, oh, if it's oxygen, go to the military hospital in Yaba. Those will not, they don't have all those issues. There is standard facility. There is this. I'm like, really? I was very happy. My brother hadn't slept. They hadn't eaten. They hadn't done anything. We were just driving all around Lagos, looking for hospital.
Looking for healthcare.
Yes. With money. With money.
With money.
So how much more people who
don't even have that
money? So we got to the military hospital at about maybe to 6:30 to 7. We had to wait. We got card. We got this. Like every other hospital you go to. We spent money, and then waited till about 9, after 9ish to 10, before we could see the doctor. Fantastic doctor. Fantastic doctor. He's a copper doctor, like he's serving in that place. I don't want to mention his name. Fantastic. You know yourself. Wherever you are, may the good Lord bless you.
Amen, sir.
Everything you touch in your life will turn to gold.
Amen, sir.
The healing power of Jesus will fall upon your hands.
Amen, sir.
Any patient you touch will be like a miracle.
Amen, sir.
Fantastic young man.
Can you describe him, sir?
Oh, he's got an afro. And he told me that he's been there for months. He has not been paid a dime. And has just been working for free. Amazing guy.
At the military hospital?
Yes. And the guy told me, once he finishes this thing, I want to work in Canada. I want to hospital. I mentioned earlier that we are exporting the best of our brains.
This is a sad reality you just broke in, sir.
So the guy said, he told me the reality of what was on ground. But he said the hospital policy was that anybody with a breathing problem or breathing impediment or whatever had to go and take a COVID test at the IDH before they could admit. Before I saw the doctor, I saw some young doctors in the morning. They looked at my medical record, the papers I brought, and they said, oh, fine, they could treat now, they will admit. And so I was happy that, okay, finally, I've gotten a place. So when the doctor came, he said, oh, they couldn't, that I had to go to IDH. And
what's IDH?
I don't know the full meaning now.
IDH.
It's like a COVID center in Yaba.
COVID testing center.
Yes, testing center in Yaba. So I went to the IDH. Immediately, they just saw me and just put me on oxygen straight. This is the oxygen I've been begging for hours. They put me on oxygen. I was on oxygen for like 3 hours.
Because of the recommendation from the military hospital?
Yes. Okay. No, it wasn't even because of the recommendation. They just saw me. Nurses just saw me. They have amazing nurses. They have amazing doctors at the IDH. But I'm going to come to that also. They didn't do any tests. They immediately just saw me. They just said, this man is not breathing well. They just, I don't know, man. I felt like a human being.
For the first time?
For the first time.
After going through Blue Cross, lawsuits, Island Hospital.
There's this stuff, I don't know what's called. They just put it in your thumb or your finger. They call it, they take your SPD and whatever, or SPDA or something. They just put me on oxygen immediately. So I was even telling my brothers, go to the ATM. Hello, Bowo. So I'm of oxygen, I'm more. After I used almost a full tank of oxygen. And when I was better, they said they cannot admit me. I had to go back to the military hospital. I felt bad. I went back to the military hospital. They put a minute on paper. They sent me back to IDH. At this point, we had not eaten all day. Even me that was sick, I was already getting frail. I said, you know what, guys, let's just go somewhere and you guys should try to eat. They were all they didn't brush, they didn't bathe, no change of clothes, nothing. They were looking spent. In fact, they were spent. And it will be inhumane for me to just continue driving them around without any sense of care. So I said, let's get something to eat and and we'll be fine. So we got something. They ate.
Okay.
I was able to eat some fruits, pineapple.
For the first time.
Yeah, pineapples and watermelon. I ate that pineapple. It was like a resuscitation. Watermelon and the rest. So we went back to the hospital. On getting back to the hospital, we went to the IDH, and they said, okay. The doctor took my case very personal. He went to see the bosses, explained to them that he thinks that they can admit me and and treat me and all of that. So they told me to go and pay for admission and some other things. I went, I paid. Just as I finished paying, coming back to the doctor said his boss came to meet him that they can't admit me again.
How much are we talking here?
Let's not even go into the funds. I'm like, are you serious? No, but you just asked me to go and pay now. And you know this relief you have when, oh, okay, you're going to be admitted. I'm like, oh. Again. And I said, guy, is there something wrong with me? Like, let me know. But you could see that they were trying to hide something. They were not telling me something. So what they were not telling me, I started telling myself, so that I could be in the reality of what was on ground. I would not have a false sense of hope or false sense of direction as to what is happening. I don't wish this experience on my enemy. I don't wish it upon my enemy. Wow.
So what happened next? You have to take yourself in. You don't grow emotional, sir. Just encourage yourself, sir. Encourage yourself. I know what you have gone through, because I know what you're talking about. Nigeria, and I know how you feel for the ordinary people. I know you are mirroring your own experience, and you are mirroring the experience. You are mirroring it from the experience of ordinary people that are not in the position to put down money, to put down a will. You have put in strong will to fight for it and to have this experience that you are sharing with millions of people around the world.
So I went back to the IDH, and at the IDH, I just gave in. The pain was so much. I was almost slumping. My brother just held me. They just held me from falling. I started shouting. I started pleading. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ẹ ṣàánú mi. Ẹ̀yin abiyamọ, ẹ ṣàánú mi. That was what I was shouting. Ẹ ṣàánú mi, ẹ má jẹ́ n kú. When I sat down there that day, they brought in somebody in a car. I watched the man die in his car.
Life?
Yes. The families of the people I speak can correlate to what I'm telling you. A very, very well-to-do man. The man died. He was with his wife.
The wife is fair in complexion.
The wife is dark. She's chocolate. Her kids came.
Okay.
The man died in the car. He wasn't the only one that died in the car. There is a lot of good about the IDH, and there are also some downsides. We have to tell ourselves the truth so that we can adjust.
Can you analyze the behavioral conducts of those people there? What is the problem? Is it a problem of motivation or just pure nonchalance?
Okay, let me start from before I was eventually admitted. You guys at the IDH Yaba, respect in all ramifications. It was at the IDH Yaba I saw doctors put their lives on the line. It was at the IDH Yaba I believe that maybe our country is still worth saving. The nurses, the senior nurses, amazing people. They have human sympathy, and they just see you, they just know you, they just understand your problem. Men looking at you psychologically, they just have that experience. They are experienced enough to just know, okay, this guy has this problem. When I got there, nobody did any test before they just put me on oxygen. The woman just said this guy cannot breathe. Well, give me oxygen from she elderly woman. Elderly woman. She went to drag oxygen. She went to, I wish I could even get up to help her, but I couldn't. But the only problem they have, there are certain issues they have at the IDH. I think one of it is the response time. You see that 10 minutes that they bring people in, 15 minutes. Because that they bring people in and they eventually die at the car lots or the car parks and all of that. If they could set up like an emergency unit where as people are coming in, you are giving them good emergency treatment, will save a lot of lives. But there's no, that emergency thing is not there. Yes, and you cannot blame them. They are spent. There are too few doctors, there are too few nurses to take care of, to be able to handle the capacity. They don't have sometimes they don't have PPE. PPE is what they wear. They have to cover themselves before they come into our, but they don't have. But these doctors will put their lives on the line. They will just wear nylon. They will just wear nylon and wear some funny looking things and still try to come to see us just to make sure we are doing okay. In the whole of my stay there, I saw maybe two different doctors. I'm like, how can two doctors? And these are the same doctors that go from ward to ward to ward to ward. It's not enough capacity to handle what is going on. And for those of you who say that Corona is a lie, the coronavirus is this, is that. On getting to my ward, I was rushed to the ward. I was put on a bed. I was put on some oxygen. I couldn't breathe now. I couldn't breathe. And I was just asking God that, okay, is she akoko ti to fe me ta oko ba ti to je ki mo na ki ye damu ara mi en ti o to mi ku en to ju mi lo ku men ngba oni ma ku oni ku gbogbo yan lo ma ku ẹni ṣe rere á kú, ẹni ṣe bí á kú. Ṣùgbọ́n ká má fọjọ́ ọlọ́jọ́ lọ làdúrà tá à ń gbà.
So another round of experience at the ward. How did you achieve that ward status? Because they've said somebody told us not to admit. So how did you got that breakthrough?
Mercy.
Mercy? Yes. From God?
Mercy of God. And mercy of the people at the IDH. Àánú Ọlọ́run ni mo rí gbà. Àánú Ọlọ́run ni mo rí gbà. It wasn't by power, it wasn't by might, it wasn't by money, it wasn't by status, it wasn't by nothing. It was just by the grace of God.
Jehovah God himself.
It was by his mercy. Ọwọ́ ọ̀tún Ọlọ́run tó ń ṣe agbára òun ló dá mi sí dọjọ́ òní.
According to Psalm 118.
Yes. Ọlọ́run wà o. There is God. It's until your money does not make sense again.
With the reality on ground?
It's until your position does not make sense again. It's until your wealth does not have meaning before you know the value of God, before you know the power of God, before you know who God is. But for those of you who temolo edi Ọlọ́run mo, owó lè gbà yín o, ọlá ayé yóò lè gbà yín, ipò lè gbà yín, Ọlọ́run nìkan ló lè gbà yín. God took me to experience these things that I may share this story. When I've been out of there for a while, I promised myself when I was leaving the word that I was going to write to the state government. I was going to do a publication to the newspaper. But when I came out, I just said, you know what? This nonchalance just came. I said, what I can do? Let me just watch it one share. When God realized that I would refuse to do what He has sent me to do, He raised you up because He wanted people to hear this story.